The phone was warm. Not the kind of warm that comes from being left uncharged too long. The kind of warm that comes from being used. Recently. Secretly. While I was asleep in the next room. My name is Onome. I am 34 years old. And on a Tuesday night, with the smell of roasted plantain still in my hair from the street vendor down the road, I opened my husband's second phone. And I found his second life. A whole. Entire. Life. Stay with me. Because what I am about to tell you, I would not wish on my worst enemy. You have to understand who I was before that night. I was Onome. The girl everyone wanted in their corner. The one who showed up with food when your mother was sick. The one who remembered every birthday nobody else remembered. The one who danced at your wedding like it was her own. My friends always said, Onome, you laugh too loud. They were right. I grew up in Delta State, Nigeria. A warm, close-knit place where your neighbor's business was somehow always your family's business too. My mother could stretch one pot of soup to feed 10 people and make every single one of them feel like the special guest. My father believed in two things, education and dignity. I got both. I built a life for myself in Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. Wide roads, big ambitions, young professionals all trying to prove something. I had a good job at a communications firm. My own apartment. A circle of friends who felt like sisters. And then I met Sam. Sam Emeka Okafor. The man who would become my husband. Tall. Deliberate. The kind of man who spoke like every word had been chosen carefully before it left his mouth. We met at a friend's celebration in Abuja in 2016. He walked over, handed me a plate of food I hadn't asked for, sat down uninvited, and said, "You look like someone who has a story worth hearing." I should have asked him the same question. We dated for 2 years. He called every night. He traveled to Delta State to meet my parents like a man with nothing to hide. We had our traditional wedding ceremony back home. Then our church wedding in Asaba, my family's city, 3 months later. Small. Intimate. Beautiful. After the wedding I left my job. My friends. My city. Everything I had spent years carefully building, to be with him. Because that is what love asked. And I gave it, without blinking. We settled into our new life and for a while, it was good. I found a street food vendor down the road who sold roasted plantain every evening. Somehow, standing there watching it cook over the coals, I felt at home again. Sam's auto parts business was doing well. We had a comfortable apartment. We talked about children. We talked about the future like two people who believed completely in what they were building. We had a plan. But somewhere in 2020, the plan started to shift. Nothing dramatic at first. Just small things. Sam started keeping his phone face down whenever I was nearby. He started taking certain calls outside, walking to the far end of the compound before speaking. He started traveling more. Once a month. Then twice. Supplier problems, he said. My business partner needs me on the ground, he said. And I, trusting, loving Onome, believed him. Every single time. Then one Sunday after church, my closest friend Blessing pulled me aside. She had been visiting family in Onitsha, a busy city about 2 hours away, and while she was there, a mutual acquaintance had casually mentioned seeing Sam. Not passing through. Not for business. Living there. With a woman. And children. I told Blessing the woman was probably a distant relative. That people gossiped and twisted things. I told her I knew my husband. She looked at me for a long moment. Then she nodded quietly and said, "Okay, Onome. I just needed you to know what I heard." I went home. Made dinner. Sat across from Sam and watched his face the entire time. I searched for a crack. A flicker. Anything. I couldn't find one. He was too practiced. But something had shifted inside me that I could not undo. I started paying attention differently. Not with love, but with eyes. And that is when I noticed it. The charger. One Wednesday morning Sam left early, rushing, distracted. And on the bedside table, tucked behind his Bible, was a charger that did not belong to any device I recognized. I searched the room. I checked the top shelf where he kept his important documents. And folded inside a shirt he hadn't worn in years. I found it. A black iPhone. No case. No label. Nothing. It had a 4-digit passcode. I tried our anniversary. Wrong. I tried his birthday. Wrong. Then I tried the birthday written on the back of a child's photograph I had once seen tucked in his office drawer. A child he told me was his godson. It opened. The wallpaper was a family photo. A woman. Beautiful. Champagne-colored blouse. Sitting in front of a Christmas tree. 2 children beside her, a girl and a boy. And in her arms, a newborn baby. And standing behind them all, his hand resting on the woman's shoulder. Smiling the exact way he smiled in our own wedding photos. Was my husband. I sat down on the floor of our bedroom. And I scrolled. God help me, I scrolled. Hundreds of messages. Daddy is coming home this weekend. The baby slept through the night. Don't forget the juice boxes, the children won't stop asking. And Sam's replies. Warm. Tender. Present. The exact same voice he used with me. The messages went back to 2015. A full year before I ever met him. 3 years before he stood at the altar with me. This woman, I will call her Ada, was in Onitsha. Just like Blessing had said. She had been with Sam since before me. 3 children. A home. A life. I was not the wife who didn't know about the other woman. I was the other woman, who never knew she was the other woman. I put the phone back exactly where I found it. Folded the shirt exactly as it was. Walked to the kitchen. And I made tea. Because that is what Onome does when the world falls apart. She makes tea. She breathes. And she thinks. I did not cry that day. I called my cousin Sandra in Lagos. Sandra is a lawyer, sharp and calm and impossible to rattle. I went to the bathroom, turned on the tap, and whispered everything to her. Sandra said, document everything first. Photograph every message, every photo, everything on that phone. Send it all to me. Then we talk. So that is what I did. Every time Sam left the house over the next 3 weeks, I found that phone. I photographed the messages. The family photos. The voice notes of Ada and the children calling him daddy. I found school receipts in his email. I found a property document, land purchased together in Onitsha. In 2019. The same year Sam and I sat together planning our future home. He was building 2 futures. With 1 set of hands. And 2 women who trusted him with everything. I sent every piece of evidence to Sandra. She called me back and said simply, you have everything you need. Go have your conversation. Then come straight to me. The confrontation happened on a Saturday morning. My bag was already packed and sitting in my car. I asked Sam to sit down. We sat in the living room, the same room where we had laughed with friends and talked about baby names. I placed his second phone on the table between them. He looked at the phone. Then he looked at me. I watched him calculate his next move in real time. I watched him choose between honesty and anger. He chose the worst thing. He got angry. You went through my private things. I did not raise my voice. Not even slightly. I said, Sam. I know about Ada in Onitsha. I know about your children. I know about the property. I know exactly how long this has been going on. He went completely quiet. Then, he cried. Not the cry of a man asking for forgiveness. The cry of a man who has simply run out of road. He said it started before me. He said he had tried to leave. He said when Ada had more children he felt he could not walk away from them. He said he loved me. He said I was the one he truly chose. As if being chosen by a man living a double life was something to be grateful for. I stood up. I picked up my bag. I said, Sam. You married me without telling me you already had a family. You let me leave everything I had built, for a lie. I hope your children grow up to be better than the example you set. I walked out the front door. Got in my car. Dropped it off at a friend's house. And took the next available flight to Lagos. Sandra opened her door that evening, took one look at my face, and held me without saying a single word. That was when I finally cried. Properly. Completely. For the first time. 3 days of tears I had been holding like a dam. Sandra had reviewed every piece of evidence I sent her. She knew exactly what to file and how. Because Sam had concealed an existing family when he married me, because I had been deceived from the very beginning, the legal process moved in my favor. The marriage was annulled. I received a settlement. And I got the most important thing back, myself. I went home to Delta State. Sat with Mama on the front porch. Ate her food. Slept in my childhood bedroom like a little girl again. And on the 4th day, I got up. I went back to Abuja. Back to the communications world I had stepped away from. Slowly at first. Then steadily. Then with everything I had. Within a year, I had clients again. Opportunities again. A life that was entirely, unapologetically mine. As for Ada in Onitsha, I never reached out. She had her own pain to carry. Her own truth to face. She had been deceived in her own way too. And Sam. Blessing told me eventually that the weight of 2 households, 2 sets of children, 2 women who both now knew the truth, became more than he could hold together. When she told me, I felt nothing sharp. No satisfaction. No sadness. Just peace. Because peace is what arrives when you finally stop carrying something that was never yours to carry. A charger that didn't belong led me to a phone that didn't belong. And that phone showed me a life that had never fully belonged to me either. Some losses are disguised as discoveries. And some discoveries save your life. My name is Onome. I am 34 years old. And I am finally, truly, free. If this story touched your heart, leave a comment below. Just one word. Tell me how you feel. And if someone in your life needs to hear this today, share it with them. Quietly. The way good friends do. I will be back next week. With another story worth hearing.